What's going on, fam? Back with another video. Hope you guys have been doing well. For today's video, we're going to go through the charts. Of course, when it comes to FOMC, the dust is settling. Bitcoin is actually bouncing quite nicely as it stands right now, but we do have some major resistances to go overhead. But without further ado, I'm Dope Oxide. I make content on YouTube, X, and CoinMarketCap, so be sure to follow those pages. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. First of all, for liquidations were quite significant. It finally started ramping up the past 24 hours. I did tell you guys I did expect more volatility during FOMC, but we didn't get that. So because we didn't actually get that volatility, I did expect it to increase post FOMC. So we just got that volatility. We got a lot of long liquidations getting flushed. Long short ratio is starting to go more neutral, with shorts being on the favored side. And when it comes to the liquidation heat map, there's quite a few liquidations getting liquidated right now on the short side. If I zoom out to the 2 weekly, which is higher time frame, as you guys can see, we have quite a few liquidations right above us. And when it comes to those major levels, as you guys can see, 94k to 95k is the magnet and is the target, which just happens to be the major resistance level we need to overcome. I really want to see us to get above this massive downtrend, which has been our downtrend since basically the start of October. If we get back above, a trend has been changed and a reversal is most likely in play. So once again, major resistance level is that downtrend, 93.3k right now, but I really want to get above our previous highs, which is about the 94.5k. So if we get some daily closes above, we're more than likely going to see more relief and acceleration to the upside. But before then, it's all noise. It could just be a relief bounce and we roll over from here. As it stands right now, we're getting volatility as expected. We didn't see the volatility during FOMC, so I expected some volatility post FOMC, which we just got that. We got a major flush. Now we're seeing that relief bounce. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin at this major resistance trend line. If we get above that trend line, good days are to come, and more than likely we can see acceleration. Next up is the open interest chart. And I really wanted to show you guys today because once again, open interest has made a new major low. So during that flush post FOMC, as you guys can see, we had a major flush to new lows. And that just tells us once again, we're seeing deleverage across the markets. And to remind you guys why this is so important, price is trending up while open interest is decreasing. So of course, that just means leverage is leaving the markets. And whenever we have an uptrend to happen after this, that means more than likely spot bidding was responsible for the breakout, which of course is more organic, and that is something we want to see when new trends are made. Next up is the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. After seeing that massive breakout to the upside, we're finally having our first red daily candle, which is totally fine. We want to see some retest to happen. Of course, we had a nice pop up to the upside. And really, our next major target I would like to see a bounce from is that major high from that bull flag we were making. So at the 345 region, as long as we hold this and bounce from there, I do expect continuation to happen. No red flags there. Next up is the Ethereum to USD chart. Ethereum to USD still in that channel. Of course, we had a pop up to the upside. Let me just clean the chart. As you guys can see, we had a pop up to the upside, which was of course a fake out, but we wanted to see some daily candles above it. But nonetheless, we're still in the channel. Nothing to complain here. We're just really just grinding and chopping, just weeding out the markets, weeding out the sentiment, and taking out the leverage. Next up is the total 3 chart as well as the others chart. Really no updates here. We're still holding on support levels and there hasn't been any breakdowns yet. Admittedly, it's been quite boring for the total charts and others, but really there's nothing to say. It's just chopping. We want to see breakouts out of his downtrend at that 892 billion area for total 3. And for others, we really need to get out of this downward channel at the $240 billion range or so. But when it comes to the stock market, however, we're still grinding up higher. We want to see a reclaim of this trend line once again. And I've told you guys so many times, if we reclaim this trend line, we're back in that parabolic stage. And I really do think that is probably going to be the final blow off top phase for this cycle. I really do think that can carry Bitcoin markets as well as altcoins and beyond. Next up is the meme coin dominance chart. Of course, this directly affects Toshi. This is why I really want to show you guys. And look at this. We've broken out and we're having a textbook retest of the downtrend, which is perfectly fine. No red flags here. And it's looking like we're actually going to close above the trend line once again. And the more daily closes we get above this trend line, more than likely we can see a reversal to the upside. Our major resistance level to actually overcome is at 44 billion area. If we can get back above it, super bullish in my opinion, because that actually confirms new higher lows and higher highs are made, which of course directly affects Toshi, and Toshi can more than likely break out of his wedge. It's been stuck in his wedge for so long. It's been stuck in the wedge for nearly a month now, but as long as it stays in this wedge and supports are held, I do expect Toshi is to break out. I actually made a tweet of Toshi today, so be sure to follow my page. I do TA analysis on my X page, so be sure to follow and ring the bell over there. Next chart is actually super important. It's the USDT dominance. And look at that. As predicted, USDT has rejected off that second line on the parabolic wave. And I told you guys so many times, as long as we can keep rejecting and have daily closes below this, I do expect continuation to the downside is to occur. Pretty much wicked into it the past 12 hours. If we did have a daily close above here, that means this was a deviation, and which is actually quite bearish for our crypto markets. But look, we had a rejection. And as long as we close below here and have multiple daily and weekly closes below this, we can expect USDT dominance to really crash down to the downside to our major target. And if USDT dominance is to reject down to our major target, we can expect a massive alt season is to occur. And at the very least, Bitcoin and Ethereum can make new all-time highs. Next up is the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, and yesterday we actually printed 29, which is quite high. We're actually seeing the sentiment reset very nicely, and going back to my bullish wedge on the sentiment, once again, it's actually breaking out and looking like we're actually making new highs and higher lows, and this is super bullish in my opinion, because generally, more greed is higher prices, and as you guys can see, we broke out, tested again, and looking like we're about to make a new higher high and higher low. Let's see if the Fear and Greed Index does a higher print. Don't think it will, but really it's just telling us the trend is changing and it's looking like more greed is about to enter the market into that Christmas rally as we were expecting, and more than likely we can actually see Bitcoin making all-time highs. Next and final part of the video are tweets. First tweet is by Lawrence. Ethereum yesterday went and kissed the purple macro trend line at the 3400 range and rejected. Today it came down to retest the broken 3-month downtrend, looking very nice. Once the 3400 barrier gets cleared, it will play catch up with the Russell fractals to all-time highs. Matter of time. This is actually something I missed thanks to Lawrence. We actually had a second downtrend line on Ethereum. We've broken out of it and looking like we actually had a successful retest. Looking at Ethereum right now, we're actually staying above that 3200 range. We're at 3,247 at the point of recording this video. And as long as we hold above 3200 and have multiple daily closes above it, it's looking like the dip from yesterday's FOMC meeting was just a retest. And as long as we hold that retest level and hold the downtrend level, we can expect continuation. And our major target to break is the 3400 region, and as long as that gets broken, we can expect acceleration to the upside, especially to that moving average. Next tweet is by Bob Lucas. The USD daily cycle has failed. That means the weekly cycle is now likely in decline. So of course, we want to see a lower USD because that just generally means more inflows going to risk on assets. This is super bullish because the weekly cycle has failed. It has left translated, which typically means a new downtrend is about to occur. We might even see a deviation down to below those 96 range lows. And if we see that true breakdown, there is zero reason to not expect a Christmas rally and a rally into Q1 of next year. Super bullish for the charts because we generally want to see a weaker USD for risk on assets to really appreciate to the upside. Next tweet is by Bob Lucas once again. Still believe stocks are set up here for a good 6 to 8 week run higher. So far, a constructive 8-week pause before the next cycle confirms. Had to give it a little wiggle room until it breaks resistance. November 17th candle is a stop. So once again, looks like the stock market really wants to break out into new all-time highs for that last parabolic phase of the cycle. And looking at the RSI as well, it actually has flipped positive. So we generally expect a new uptrend is to occur, just like we had back in the tariff tantrum. So really bullish times. People are getting bearish right at the wrong points, just in time for when it's actually going to start reversing to the upside into a bullish state. Next tweet is by MLog, Bitcoin dominance. On balance volume is bearish as fuck here. In the bigger picture, Bitcoin dominance went up and on balance volume is down. So what can we see about this chart? What we can see is generally on balance volume for the pretty much past months, the on balance volume has been trending down, which is very bearish to see generally on the chart. So let me just draw this up as well. As you guys can see, trending down on the on balance volume, which is very bearish, but the price has been grinding higher. So what we can take away from this is there is a major deviation with the on balance volume and the dominance. We do not want to see a grinding down on balance volume just as when prices are going higher. So this will eventually break to the downside, probably once this trend line is broken. If we get a breakdown from this trend line and actually break our previous lows at the 58.5%, we can expect acceleration to the downside and more than likely major relief across the board, including our base native token assets like Toshi, Alien Base, World Mobile Token, etc. Can really see some relief to the upside and really some nice bullish days for the base ecosystem. Next tweet is by Mlog once again. This is covering the USDT dominance. It's 30% above the yearly open. Bitcoin and Ethereum is a few percent below around the yearly open. Either Bitcoin market has a lot more dump to do or is heavily mispriced. We have so much room to go if the USDT dominance breaks below its yearly open, and more than likely that is a magnet to the downside into that 2025 open. So really, we want to see a breakdown. We want to see numbers below 5.8% to really open doors to this kind of scenario. And if that is the case, we can see new all-time highs for Ethereum, Bitcoin, and base native token assets. But look, when it comes to lower time frames, at least for lower time frames for USDT, it really looks like it wants to break down. We got that rejection. As long as we see multiple daily candles below this major second line of this parabolic wave, we can expect continuation, and more than likely this chart will play out. Currently, as it stands, my bias is for this to actually play out, because as long as this keeps closing, we can expect continuation and we can expect new lows for USDT dominance. So very exciting times. FOMC dust is settling. We still have to wait a few more days, if not a week, to really see the true trend for Bitcoin. This could just be a relief bounce and we could just roll over from here, but we want to see daily candles above this. After this video, if you see a daily candle over this downtrend, which is, let me get the exact number. We want to see a daily close above the 93.6k region. If you guys see that number of that daily close in about 2.5 hours, I do expect continuation is to occur. You guys better look closely because it's quite important for this to close. Because that will actually mean since the start of October, a new trend has been made, a new higher high and a new higher low. And that just means a new trend has been made, and more than likely we can see acceleration to the upside. And the reason why I expect acceleration is to occur, we actually have a gold candle back test at the 99k level. That basically means is we broke down from it and actually never tested it as resistance. So as long as we actually close above this, I do expect the next target is at 99k level. And if we break above it, I do expect all-time highs shortly after, because that just means this was all a deviation and really it just reset the sentiment once again and really just destroyed everyone's dreams, which is something we really want to see if we're going to make a new trend to the upside, because we do not want the majority being bullish. But that's all to the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to follow my X page, and have a good one. Have a good day. Peace.